Good afternoon and welcome to another video podcast from Henley Consulting, the specialist management consulting firm for the 125 billion to 150 billion FPD display industry. And today we're just going to look at a very small point was brought about by a friend of mine, Paul Gray at Omdia, which is his fundamental belief that display technologies always need to fly in formation. So what is he talking about? What he's talking about is the price distances between different display technologies. And as LCD fluctuates up and down, particularly driven by supply demand in TV panels, and as we know, we're at a trough, at a low point in LCD pricing, that all other technologies around it need to adjust. And that in particular, that if LGD had expectations for keeping their white OLED panel, which is a very good technology at higher levels, that was going to get more and more challenging. That as LCD price points collapse to much newer levels, and you're getting some companies like TCL really promoting very large size, large format LCD at low price points in the US, that then leaves OLED displays for television at much higher price points and hence a much bigger delta. And that has had very real consequences for loading for LGD for white OLED. So here, as we see, this is the Guillaume's presentation at EDC. So that's DSCC data, but we can all see the price increase and then drop off that has happened in the post-COVID boom and bust in LCD pricing. But the thing that really surprised me was the degree to which, here shown on the right-hand side in the bottom with the orange line, is LGD's loading for white OLED. And that reached a low level of about 25% in Q4 2022. And that very much surprised me. That it went that low. But when you've got a LCD that's down so much in terms of price, then really all the other technologies around it have to adjust. So then what are the implications for everybody else? Well, I mean, everybody else needs to always fly in formation, and display markets by their nature are always plural in terms of technology. From smartphones to televisions, from notebooks to others, there nearly always are multiple display technologies competing. They just compete in different price points and in different, slightly different niches. But that means that the fall in pricing for LCD and television has a very distinct impact on white OLED from LGD and the QD-OLED product from Samsung. And again, more rumours about a potential tie-up of the Samsung Electronics brand with white OLED for LGD to help solve this problem and help defend Korea in general as the leaders in the OLED format. But it does mean that for everything else, I mean, micro OLED is at a very, very different price point today. And I've always argued that will come crashing in based largely on die size reductions. But everything needs to fit with a lower level if the price points are lower. So Paul now explains that it used to be that a 55-inch white OLED set was being compared to a 65-inch LCD. Well, that gap now has stretched to almost 30 inches. So you're talking about 80-inch class, 80-inch and higher LCDs being compared to the price point of a 55-inch white OLED. With very different distinct markets and choices. Europe is in general more forgiving to higher end, smaller display technology, but in the US in particular, large class LCD being very popular. So this applies across all display technologies and across all display markets. In the same way in smartphone, if the gap falls with Flex OLED onto rigid OLED and LTPS LCD, then you have more of the Chinese brands moving up to OLED in a marketplace where that used to be not economically possible, but has become more so. So the implication in all of this is keep track of the pricing of the alternative technologies that you may think you don't compete with, but are definitely there in the minds of consumers and in the minds of purchasing companies and product architects in brand companies. Is your technology flying in formation? And I thank Paul Gray for the idea.